Welcome to Can TV 21. Let's talk etiquette. Oh, I don't think I ever get used to saying that without having a degree of joy and pleasure out of saying let's talk etiquette. But before we get started, I'd like to start this show by introducing my absolutely wonderful co-host, Madam Georgia Selmon, etiquette maven extraordinary. Welcome to Can TV, Let's Talk Etiquette.
Thank you. It's indeed a pleasure to be here again. Mr. Wright, thank you for having me.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to this great topic on today.
Oh, yes. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful topic for today. And in fact, it is one of the grandest subjects of our entire lives. It's just that grand. And once you get a chance to absorb this grand subject, you're going to say, you guys there at Can TV, Let's Talk Etiquette, is hitting the nail on the head. But let me move right away to that subject so that we can get started on the show. But do not forget to call us, 312-738-1060. Give us a call, 312-738-1060. Okay? Here we go. American manners and morals. The Etiquette Foundation of Illinois has a solution. Yes, we do. So, join in with us. Now, may I ask you about this grand subject? Give me your input, your thoughts on American manners and morals.
Well, I tell you, the latter part of our topic is adopt the values of etiquette, change behavior, change America. When I saw this, I said, change behavior and change America. Where do we start?
Yes.
That's a huge topic.
It is.
Where do we start?
Yes.
And you know my position.
Yes.
And I don't have to tell you again.
No, repeat it. Share it with us.
Manners and morals.
Yes.
Civility.
Yes.
Changing behavior. If we change behavior, we can change America.
We can do that.
And we have to start at every level.
Yes.
In the homes, in our schools, in our politics.
Yes. Politics especially.
Yes. All over we need to change and adopt the values of etiquette.
Absolutely. So well said, madam. And she's right. I mean, you think about it. American manners has a 2,000-year history. Okay? The people who came to this country and settled this country brought their values to America. And so etiquette is part of that foundational values. And so just give me some insight as to how American etiquette or American manners have impacted you in your life and your parents and your history, however you see it and think about it.
When I think about it, I think about the current events that's going on today. Okay, we're in Chicago and our kids have been out of school all week.
Yes.
Due to the strike that's going on. That to me says that there needs to be some change in the whole structure of our education system.
Yes.
And the teachers are saying all we want is to be treated with dignity, to be treated with justice, and to be treated with respect.
Yes.
I mean,
those are manners.
Yes.
Basically, respect, dignity, all of those derive out of etiquette.
Yes. And to me, it makes so much sense.
Why
do you have to fight for that? Why do you have to picket for that?
Yes.
Why can't a professional be respected with dignity, with justice, and with respect?
Yes.
Why? What has gone wrong in our society, in our country, where people, professionals, are feeling like they're not treated with dignity, with justice,
That's so true.
and with respect?
Yes.
It starts at the top.
Yes.
In our country, it starts at the top in our homes.
Mm-hmm.
It starts at the top in any corporation.
It does. There's a value system,
Yes.
and etiquette is a value system. And it incorporates all of those things you just mentioned: respect, dignity, treating people right in an honorable way.
Yes.
And the teachers, I'm assuming, just what you're telling me and what you're telling the audience, do not feel respected.
They don't feel respected.
No.
They don't feel justice.
None.
They're the most hardworking professionals that we'll ever come in contact with. And we've all sat in the classroom
Yes.
and had contact with the educator, the
Yes.
teacher.
I did.
Why
You
are
did.
they
We
fighting?
We all had that background
Absolutely.
and that education.
Every professional, every successful human being has sat in the classroom with the teacher.
Yes, yes. It's such a tragedy, especially for our children.
Yes.
They're the ones who are suffering. Every day lost in their education cannot be recovered.
No.
I can't get yesterday back.
No.
If I didn't get an education, I didn't learn to read or do math yesterday, I can't get that back. And you have a 12-year period of education. Not
Correct.
13 or 14 years, but 12.
Yes.
And once that 12 years is up, it's over with. So what are you missing today and yesterday and last week? How many days have they been on strike?
I know all week. I think last Thursday was the start of
And they
it.
went over. Okay.
Yes, and
It's
then
like
the
the
rest
fourth or
of this
fifth day.
week. Absolutely.
Wow.
And it's a misfortune. It's a tragedy
Yes.
that our kids are being deprived of their rights to education.
Yes.
And it's even more of a disgrace that our professionals, our teachers who are professionals, are having to fight.
Having to go out on a picket line.
Yes.
Whereas something of this nature should have been settled way before it got to this point. And that's what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Civilized people understand the dynamics of why we have an educational system.
Yes.
And one in which we should do one thing and one thing only. That's to educate our children.
Yes.
That's the whole purpose of it. And when you have a system where the teachers have to go out on strike in order to get a reasonable income, that's a tragedy that the kids are suffering as a consequence.
Yes, and it's an insult.
It is. And unfortunately, a lot of those children, parents are working, and they're having an extremely difficult time, trying to find someone to care for their child during the day.
Yes.
And so there are ramifications for exactly what you're speaking of. But manners is like at the foundation of all the things we do. I mean, conscious things we do is really based in manners. And we do have a value system that says exactly what those manners represent in your daily life.
Right, right.
And so American manners and morals is really at the core of our existence.
Yes.
And if you look back through history, how do we organize? We organize around behavior, a certain structure, a certain system of behavior.
Absolutely.
And so if we are to coexist, be it in the classroom or be it at the workplace or be it in the community, we need an organized system that we all are in agreement with.
That's fair. A
That's fair.
system that is fair. When society starts to incorporate fairness in each and every one of our entities,
Yes.
then we don't
Absolutely.
have to go out and picket and go on strikes.
No.
Because fairness will be a priority. And
Absolutely.
I think that's what America is missing or not promoting anymore. Why
No.
is it that we have to adopt values? Why shouldn't values and etiquette be a part of who we are? At one time, people said thank you.
Yes.
without, with no reservation or
Right.
hesitation.
Right.
At one time, people would say, "Excuse me."
Of course,
At one
absolutely.
time, people would say, "May I please have that?"
Yes,
And it was just the
the
thing to
norm.
do, the norm.
The norm. It wasn't even a thought process any longer. You just behaved in that way.
Yes.
Because respect was the core foundation of that.
Yes.
You showing me respect when you say excuse me.
Absolutely.
You acknowledging me
Yes.
by saying excuse me.
And when your child say, "Miss Selmon, may I please use your pen or your pencil?
Yes.
Or may I borrow some of your glue stick?"
Yes. That's respect.
That's respect.
That's respect, and that's been lost.
It's lost.
Unfortunately, the political forces do not respect the teachers, or if they did, they would understand that teachers have to make a living,
Yes.
and they need to make a certain amount of money to have a certain level of quality of life. If you don't have that, then what is your quality of life?
That's right.
And you say that you honor me as a teacher. You know my value in this society as a teacher, but here I'm not being compensated at a level where I can just have a basic existence.
One lady I heard say on the news, and my heart just went completely out when this woman said, "We have to live in this city.
Have to live.
We have to live. If you work for the city, you have to reside in the city." She said, "Why aren't we compensated monetarily for the work that we do and for the cost of living in this city? Why aren't our salaries reflecting our profession and for having to must live in the city? Why aren't we being compensated accordingly?"
There you go.
And I said, "Wow, okay." She's
Good
absolutely
question.
correct.
Good question. Good
When
question.
each person, each professional that has something to do with the salary allocation of teachers, each one of them has sat at a desk in a school and learned from a teacher. Why
Yes.
is it that teachers are so underpaid? Why is it that
Such a
their
grand
profession is not reflective of the hard work that they do? I know this was not supposed to be. I know I'm going off.
It's okay. It's fine.
But-
It's a good analogy of one little institution, not a little one, but a major institution in our society, and that's our educators.
Absolutely.
And how they are being treated in this society by the political forces
Yes.
that dictate that they cannot live outside of the city limits of Chicago, which translate into higher taxes that they have to pay, less services that they're getting for their money. As you well know, you know how life is in the suburbs as opposed to life is in the city.
Yes.
And one really example, and this kind of maybe not something people would think about or talk about, but to go to find a public washroom.
Yes.
In the suburbs, you go to any gas station and they have a public washroom for
Or any business.
Or any business, restaurant,
place.
you can go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but in the city, you can't depend on.
No, you cannot.
But you're paying very high taxes.
But
you
the
don't
question
get you don't
is,
get the services
you don't
for
get the-
your money.
exactly.
And that's what that teacher was
Yes.
talking about.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
forced to pay a lot more
Yes.
money, which comes out of my salary.
Yes.
But I'm getting less services for my dollar.
Yes.
That's not respect.
I have to
that's
live in this
disrespect.
city. I am a professional, and my income does not reflect how I can live comfortably in this city because I'm underpaid.
Yes.
How do we change the behaviors of the people that's calling the
Decision
shot? Yes.
Decision maker.
How do we
decision maker.
change that behavior? What can be done
Yes.
to get people to become more sensitive and more
Well, here's what I see, which may very well speak to what you're raising. as I know, I lived in Chicago for many, many years, so I got a pretty good sense of it. There seemed to be an erosion in respect for those who work for the government, be you a teacher or a sanitation worker. The respect that they once had 20, 30, 40 years ago is no longer there.
Why?
And because the city is not being managed properly, economically managed properly. The city is in tremendous debt.
I can agree with
40,
that.
50 years ago, they had a surplus of monies, and they could afford to support their workers that work for the government here, local government or county government or city government. And now today it's not that way, and that's the sad part because the city is operating in debt. You know, it's not operating in a surplus. So the funds that they are allocating for different departments like education, they really don't have the funds, and so they're forcing the teachers to take less if they can, even at losing valuable, precious days of education of our children. And that's unfortunately what is going on with that. But American manners is still the core, and we at the Etiquette Foundation of Illinois want to bring that very fundamental concept, value system back to where it once was that we know for a fact it did exist. Talk to us about that value system you do remember that was cherished.
I think the responsibility lies on all of us. I think every entity that exists in our society is responsible for incorporating our subject.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your frame, wherever you are. And I think the very first organization that we should mention is at home.
Your family. That's
The
an
family.
organization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I believe it starts there. But I believe it also has to be reinforced once you send your child into that next environment,
Yeah.
which
Organization.
is organization,
Yeah.
which happens to be school.
Yes.
So if it's not reinforced there, that's how a society becomes
What we have today.
what we have today.
And that's
so
so
if it's,
true.
If it's not being taught at home,
Yes.
and if the school system, which is the next home for our children,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not being taught there or being reinforced there or
Yes.
even being part of their whole structure,
Yes.
even if the education system adopted a corner
Right.
spot, just a corner
Not a
spot
lot. Yes.
for the subject
Yes.
and for the reinforcement.
To let the students know that they are aware of its importance.
Absolutely.
Like what you experienced this past summer.
Absolutely.
Just the fact that school let their pupils know that this is an important subject.
Absolutely.
And we want you to learn what this subject is all about.
It should be a continuum, though. It shouldn't just stop.
So important.
And just stop, after the summer program is
It's a
over.
continuum.
It should be, yes. Yes.
Like math is
Yes,
a continuum.
Yes.
From 2 plus 2 to trigonometry.
Right.
It's a continuum.
Yes.
Yes. I agree.
And the subject matter is such a broad
Yes.
subject.
It is.
It can easily be,
All the way into college.
yes.
The same subject. We do it. We teach professional
And it's
comportment.
appreciated.
And it's appreciated even at the college level.
Absolutely.
Well, I think what we're hitting on here, which is so important when we talk about American manners and morals, is that each institution, the family is an institution, your place of work is an institution, your government is an institution.
Yes.
All of these various institutions exist because they're able to cooperate with one another. And even though we had a semblance of etiquette in schools when we were coming up, but because the foundation was laid in the home, and that's what you've been pointing out almost every other show.
Absolutely.
Starts with the home.
Yes.
And then so when the child goes to school, they see it being reinforced by the teachers. And did your mother teach you how to, or whatever the teacher may say to you, do you understand that you're not to blurt out in the classroom like that, young man? So it was reinforced.
Exactly.
But because the family, the parents laid that foundation that first 5-6 years of life, it was easily translated into the school environment. We understood what we were supposed to do and what we weren't supposed to do.
Yes.
And being polite and being courteous and being considerate is part of our education, so that we went to the next institution, which was the place that we were employed, or the corporation we created for self-employment. Those values continues into those institutions.
They should continue.
Yes.
But have you ever walked into on your job, and if you didn't say good morning, that expression would never happen?
I see it. It's so shocking. It's appalling.
Where people are not courteous anymore.
Right. They're not courteous.
People don't say good morning.
No. The entire,
Excuse me.
Yes. No.
Well,
they do
thank
not.
you for holding the door open for you.
It's not. You can't anticipate it that it will be there. No matter what institution you go into, you can now you can't anticipate it being there. You're going to get that type of welcome, or that type of consideration, or that type of courtesy.
Yes.
When you do get it, you're surprised.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. She said, hello, good morning. And, what does it mean? It means good morning. It's a good morning, not a bad morning. It's a good morning. Good morning. So those are little attributes of etiquette. You're right. They're not there. You can't depend on those things being there. I say it to you. So what do we do in terms of turning this whole process around? What do we do here at the Etiquette Foundation? What can we do to encourage the community, the wider community, to get back to etiquette? And it starts one person at a time.
One person at a time.
Yeah. So what do we do?
I think if we continue to seek out the education community,
Okay.
and at any level, if we continue to do workshops
Yes.
and continue to have a show on Let's Talk Etiquette
Yes.
on CAN TV,
Yes.
and just broaden our role in whatever area that will see us and know about us,
Yes.
and invite us to be a part of their dialogue.
Yes.
We have to start somewhere. I am not going to give up, as a matter of fact. I'm going to stay the course.
Yes, of course.
I'm going to continue to promote etiquette education, manners and morals,
Yes.
civility.
Yes.
It's a part of who I am, and I'm going to promote it everywhere I get an opportunity to talk about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's wonderful to hear, because the experience of knowing, and that's an intellectual exercise, when you know how to behave. It's a conscious thought as well as an unconscious thought, because it's part of who you are and how you choose to represent yourself in society. And so we're asking everyone out there to think about your behavior and choose to represent the very best in behavior in this society. And as an example, the way you dress in society, in public. Think about how you are appearing in public and how other people will see you. And of course, our parents, and we were raised into adult life, we took very careful thought about what we chose to put on our body before
Absolutely.
we went out in public.
There was an outfit for each and every occasion.
Yes, yes,
We had church clothes.
yes,
We had school clothes.
yes.
We had
Socialized
party clothes.
clothes.
Absolutely. We had sportswear.
Sportswear.
Today, we've
Right.
changed. And you know what? I don't want to make it sound like nothing other than the fact that we need to go back to some of the traditions of our of the past
We do. We need to rediscover those traditions
and
because they
just
were.
add it to the current.
Yes, yes.
You know.
One of the values we didn't speak on, but let me kind of get that in. One of the values of good etiquette, it will reduce violence. It will reduce violence.
Absolutely.
Over 50% of violent incidents come about because someone felt they were disrespected.
Yes.
And that caused friction between two people that led to physical altercation of some
Yes.
kind, and somebody lost their life.
Lack of respect.
Lack of respect. So it
Yes.
has value. And so let's get back to practicing etiquette. That's our value system, and it served us very, very well over the last 200-300 years. So it looks as though we're getting very close to closing out the show.
Yes.
So let me put our information up here so that you can contact us, and you can reach us at 312-473-2942, or you can email us at info@efoi.org. And so, what a wonderful show. We may continue with this great topic for shows to come. So we do want you to continue to join us on Wednesday at 7:30. And we promise to have a great, great show for you. So, Madam, would you do us the honors in closing the show for today?
Yes, stay tuned for next Wednesday. We're going to talk about how manners and morals can be very, very
Valuable.
valuable, and how not having those very important values can affect us in our country and in our communities.
Yes.
We can
Yes.
change lives. We can change the whole scope of the
Yes.
violence
In this society.
in
Yes.
our communities
Yes.
if we just adopt
Yes. A great system.
a great system with manners and morals
Yes.
and etiquette
Yes.
training.
Ah,
Good night
good night.
and have a good week.
Yes.